Then and now, we got the crown when we rock the town. Hot sound, keep us breaking ground while we chillin' lounge. 3 generations, black nerd soldiers, podcast snipers trying to pop culture. Allegedly, haters try to talk, but a pedigree in rare form.
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Then and Now podcast. We are back from the brief hiatus, and we are joined with a fun guest, as well as the usual co-host. But first and foremost, I'm your co-host, Captain Diesel, and I'm joined with Lelouch V, Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy. How y'all doing, my brothers?
Not too bad. Still recovering from the last weekend at PAX East, which cool experience with the Players Alliance. Then a full week of work, and then now we're here.
I'm doing pretty good, man. I didn't have the benefit of going to PAX East. I saw a lot of y'all's footage. It looks really great. I am doing pretty good. I am getting over seeing some horrific stuff in Invincible episode 5, which we'll get to. But other than that, I'm hanging in there. I am hanging in there.
Yeah, my body definitely felt the PAX East. My immune system at least did. But nevertheless, y'all, we are joined with a new face, a very special face at that. We have Mr. Ryan. Is it Housey? Mr. Ryan Housey?
Ryan House. Just like, how's it going, man?
See, I never even knew your real name until Otis said it, and I was like, "Oh, that's the nigga's name."
Nah, you good, man. You good, man. Not all of us can have like a legendary name. Like I'm not gonna put your government out there. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm not gonna say your whole name, but no.
it's already out there.
You got one of the legendary names, man. Mr. Charlie Wilson, brother.
I be telling people, look, he cool and all, but I mean, that's my granddaddy. But that nigga, he cool. But yes, everybody, we're joining Ryan Howes, aka Zella Comics. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm excited. We get back in the saddle. It's been like a week or so since a week, maybe 2 since we've done the episode. So ready for us to get back in the saddle and hopefully be more consistent going forward.
Why you looking at me? Why you looking at me when you said that? I was here last week. I tried to be here last week, man. Y'all went to PAX.
I geckoed my eyes.
Man. By the way, give a shout out, of course, to our producer who's back in the saddle as well. Producer, Nightwing himself.
Producer Cito is back in the building, my hermano. Y'all haven't seen him. Well, you've seen him, but yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You've seen his beautiful face. But yes, we have a stacked docket today in regards to topics, and I'm ready to get into them because they're going to be really interesting. But before we do that, though, Ryan, you want to tell the people who you are and what you do?
Yeah. My name is Ryan, aka Zella, and right now, what I'm trying to do is be the review guy for all the indie space. I've been really trying to push and promote indie comics because, as we've seen, there's a lot with the big 2, honestly, big 3 at this point, that they're not supporting certain stories, and I want to support all of those stories, and that's like a big focus of mine. And the way that I want to do that is I do some voice acting. I do some comic dubs. I do some reviewing. I do some reading and things like that. And I'm starting my fiction writing back again. I finished a nonfiction book that's in its final stages. So now I'm shifting gears, and you're gonna see some original content from me as well. So that's what I got.
Yes,
just a little bit.
And yeah, he makes dope content. The voice acting, especially, I thought that was really. I think the recent one you showed me was the new Batman ongoing that's going on right now.
Yeah,
it was a detective. I can't remember. There's 15,000 ongoing Batman stories right now, so I can't remember which one it was from.
Yeah, it's the Matt Fraction one where he meets the Joker in the tube, and when I read that scene, I was like, oh man, I gotta voice that. It's so much fun. The Joker voice was a lot of fun. My son helped me with figuring out that voice, because he was like, the Joker sounds like that vampire guy that you did. And I was like, what vampire guy that I did? He was just talking about some other thing where I just went I'm looking for philanthropist Bruce Wayne. was like,
Hey,
that sounds like the Joker. This is my
what's up,
3-year-old.
man?
That kind of sounds like the Joker. Just make him laugh. No, for that's Bruce Wayne. And he loved it. So I stuck with that. And it was a lot of fun, man. I'm glad you dug it.
I loved it. I ain't gonna, we gonna talk about some other stuff at some point in the future. But y'all, we have some topics, and we're gonna start with the first one that has been propositioned by our residential old nigga.
I knew you barely got it out without laughing. I knew it was gonna do it. I knew it was gonna. We all knew it was gonna happen. We all knew it happened.
Ethan, you have the topic of should heroes kill? Yes or no? What was you want to introduce the topic? What was your idea for this?
Sure, I'll do it. See, my old brain can handle saying words out loud in my head. But yeah, it's basically in lieu of everything that's happened as far as whether it be in the world of anime, like manga, like as far as like Jujutsu Kaisen. Recently, for those who haven't seen this season 3 of JJK, it deals heavily with the effects of, or the fallout of season 2, where the main character or one of the main characters, Yuji, feels very, very guilty about how the literal demon inside him slaughtered a lot of people, and he feels guilty for the way of the idea of killing. The idea of killing people bothers him severely. Then you get to season 3, and of course you see some other characters that are forced into what's called the culling game, and true to its name, they are forced to kill a lot, and some of them are dealing with it better than others. And then you get to another character who we all love, the Aura Queen herself, Maki, who goes on a full Kill Bill spree, literally slaughtering her entire clan, except for a few women and children. And in that, people were applauding. I literally saw reaction videos to applauding Maki for doing so. Then you cut over to something like Invincible, for example, in the world of Western comic books or storytelling and the animation, and the main character Mark. This season in particular, he's dealing with the struggles as far as getting into whether or not he should kill. He's grappled with that in the past, but it's a lot more front and center this season. And for those who haven't seen any of season 3, I won't get too heavy into spoilers, maybe some. He basically is forced to pull the trigger and actually do that, and actually take the life of someone. Given the circumstance, it seems warranted, but it's also him realizing how hard him grappling with the decision to do so is weighing on him a lot if he's crossing the line. So I wanted to pose out to y'all, brothers and sisters, and in between, how do y'all feel about heroes? I mean, I'm specifically getting into the actual heroes themselves, protagonists dealing with killing in the name of what they believe is right.
Lucian, you had a lot to say out the gate. You want to start first?
Yeah, I mean, Punisher had it right. 10 times niggas gotta go.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all thing. It's all thing.
We're
back. I didn't skip a beat.
Yeah, I think it's.
I do understand, like, of course, the moral dilemma. Maybe you don't necessarily have to kill everyone, but like, there's a reason why due process includes the death penalty. Like, sometimes people are beyond recruit. Like, we see Mahito in season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Do you want him still running around? Like, do you think the world is safer with him still being alive? No, he gotta go. Gotham, the streets of Gotham are significantly better if Batman's rogues gallery is gone. That's just the New York City. If Spider-Man actually stopped holding back and just put half them people in the ground, much safer city.
Yeah.
Ryan?
I mean, we just saw Conquest say, "The boy kept me alive." What an idiot! Or that's so it's so stupid. And then we see just an episode or two later exactly why it was so stupid that they left him alive. Like, the moment he opens his eyes, he just explodes out of the containment, and then everything goes bad again. Like, Yeah, there's some characters, man, that you gotta just take out. Like, it's only people with capes that we ever have this problem with. Like, literally, any other protagonist in any other genre, we're always fine with it. But for some reason, it's the capes that we're like, oh no, you can't do that. That's no. But what if they want to repent? It's like, no, no, they don't. There's some people that just want to see the world burn, man. Like, I don't know. Some people gotta go.
Mhm.
So there are two ways I look at this from. For starters, at least with the idea of like redemption, right? As someone who is a avid criticizer of like the prison system we have here in America that preaches reform, when done correctly, you see people able to change their entire life around, right? When they're given things that can allow them to see different perspectives in life, whatever it may be. You've seen people that have been really chaotic in one part of their life and change all the way around to being something else, rather it be for good or for bad. So I do think that is a possibility, and I think that some stories do that well. We have some characters, especially like with like in the Batman mythos, right? It's been like a Clayface who's been a part of he was a part of the Batman, the Bat family at one point, going from being a villain, now he's in Batman Incorporated in that whole aspect. There's been multiple villains like that. I think having that transition sometimes makes for a really interesting story in regards to understanding. Hell, I think perfect example of it recently is with Omni-Man, right? Somebody who's literally the definition of an alien Nazi, but saw the mistake in the error of his ways, and now he's dealing with the repercussions. And it's a situation of, yeah, although you're good now, you still did a lot of fucked up stuff, and people aren't going to forgive you for that, and you're going to have to live with that. In a realistic sense, I think that's an interesting story. What I will say is, I don't have an issue with my heroes killing in stories. I have an issue with them killing frivolously and like killing so easily. Because at least for me, especially in real life, death, even if you see it, death, even if you see it, affects you subconsciously and consciously in such a major way. Just like seeing somebody die. Once it gets to the point to where it's something you do, where you're actively taking a life, it changes you forever. You can ask any military vet that you've seen that's been in action, anybody that's had to kill somebody in self-defense, or anybody that's been a part of any kind of, we'll say, organization where it has prompted them to go kill people for whatever reason it may be. Even if it is a lot of like, you see a lot of people that go through all kinds of trauma and therapy to where they realize that like seeing murder traumatizing that much because it becomes a normalized thing. And that's probably a little bit of an issue I always had with Punisher, is because we usually, in most stories that I read, again, I got to read more Punisher to see if this is more of a thing. When he's in the middle of his arc, where he just kills people, like he's like thinking about it, like as much as he drinks water, he'll off somebody. And I'm like, I just find it all kinds of weird sometimes, but also knowing his backstory, knowing that he is ex-military and was actively in war, like as in seeing combat, it makes sense that he's numb to it now. So I would love to see more stories going forward with him and other characters in regards to how murdering affects them. That's all I really want to see more of in these kind of stories. And again, you don't always have to have that, because I do think in times of like a Maki Zenin where she's just like murdering and has bloodlust without a thought of it, it can make for really cool moments. But I do feel like there is a point in time where the anti-hero was such a big thing in comics in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where you saw Wolverine, Deadpool, Punisher get really, really popular in comics. I do think it got to a point where people were just like, yeah, murder, just kill that person. And I'm just like, but repercussions, why are they, stuff like that. But that's just me though, and how I see it.
I actually, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ryan, my bad.
Oh, I was going to say to make my point clearer, I mean, it should be like a conquest level threat as well.
Right.
Like I don't think a street level hero needs to kill people, because whatever they're usually dealing with is like some sort of petty larceny crime type thing. It's usually property based or something like that, which I don't think that you need to be killed for something like that. But there are things that, like, even Frank Castle has killed that I was like, maybe that guy, you found the serial killer on accident, so you got to take that guy out. Or like Conquest, you got to take that guy out. The Joker in most stories, like, yeah, you got to take that guy out. Like, once you get to a certain level, I think that of unredeemable, like the character can never come back. Like the writer has just decided, like, this character is going to be unredeemable for any audience member, then yeah, sure, good, they should absolutely be killed. But if it's like street level hero, that's weird now.
So I mean,
You know?
yeah, and I actually agree with what you said there too. That's a good point as far as like, because that's one of the things that I brought up back in the day when Man of Steel came out. I talked to Otis and Charlie about this numerous times. How people are like, why does Superman kill? Superman never kills, and that which isn't true. But the idea too is Superman is dealing with in that movie in particular, Henry Cavill is dealing with a man that is he's the Omega. There's nothing that can possibly stop Zod but Superman. He's tried everything else. He's tried to throw him into space, tried to slam him down. He's threw him into multiple buildings. Nothing is stopping this guy. If Superman doesn't kill him, there's no way to put him down. He will. He literally says, if you don't kill me, I will kill everything. It's like, yeah, there's really you have no other option. He had to put him down. But going along with what Dev said, what about characters like Vegeta? Go back to Dragon Ball Z season 1, I guess. Basically, if Goku had Vegeta technically does die, but Goku spares him, and Vegeta goes on to Namek and helps out more reluctantly helps out Krillin and Gohan, and then he comes back from the dead after some DBZ shenanigans, what have you, and he goes on to breed Trunks, who saves them numerous times. Who of course then Vegeta himself saves the team. If Vegeta had been slaughtered, I'm not sure the DBZ universe would have survived itself. So there's always sometimes characters can be redeemed and can do prove to be a great ally. Dev mentions Clayface. Even the Juggernaut joined up with Excalibur in Marvel Comics at one time, another hero team. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there can be redemption for characters, but again, I think it does come down to: does a person want to be redeemed? Can they be redeemed? And how much have they done?
Keep in mind with Vegeta, Buddy committed whole genocide before he got to Earth.
Well,
he was not good.
We could talk about Superboy Prime right now.
Oh yeah, the recent stuff, yeah.
And like they're literally doing this, and it's fun because he's basically just Superman Deadpool, which is kind of my guilty pleasure. But yeah, they're acknowledging it at least. Like, yeah, it's kind of wild. He killed a lot of people, man. Like, we're gonna make a whole book about him. Guess so.
Yeah, Superman Prime is yeah. For I think I love Superman Prime. He was back in Infinite Crisis back in the day. I loved him so much. He was a hardcore psychopath. So the idea of like seeing him redeemed or try to be redeemed, what he is now in the comics, is kind of weird for me. I don't know that I want to see it, but that's beside the point. But I get it. It's on some level. I do believe everyone should have a chance to try to redeem themselves. Our producer brought up Peacemaker, for example. Peacemaker is someone who, in his initial movie in the James Gunn universe, The Suicide Squad, is killing people pretty, nonchalantly, and then he has his own redemption arc and comes back in his own TV series and is basically a protagonist trying to do right. Or the idea of him killing what he believes in the name of peace, kill 1,000 people to save 1 million. Is that justified either? I don't know. But it is something to think about, especially if you are trying to be a storyteller.
Oh, this shit's no sir.
I mean, well, going back to Vegeta specifically, I mean, he did die. So I mean, him being slaughtered didn't necessarily affect the overall story because I mean, death is just so impermanent in DBZ specifically anyway. Yeah, like going back to Ryan's point. Just to put it into like, gamer terms, like, I mean, when your kill counter starts getting too high, you probably got to go too. Like, I mean, even looking at Punisher, like, do I disagree with like what he does overall, like killing criminals? Not necessarily, but I mean, he probably got to go too, honestly. Like, he done some things to some people. The collateral damage stacks up. I mean, I think that is a greater question within it too. Like, if you do agree with like heroes killing, when does the hero become the villain and have to be like now taking out themselves? That's
part of what I wanted to kind of bring up with him and with the Peacemaker situation, where you have heroes that are killing in the name of their own morals, their own for the peace of others, whatever it may be. And I think we talked about this before thoroughly in the past in regards to why the Punisher's way of going about things in the goal doesn't work. It makes things worse because when you're setting the precedent of scorched earth and you will die, everyone else that you're seeking to kill and keep in check are going to respond with the appropriate amount of force and violence. So they're going to try to kill you, and you're probably going to have a lot of fucking collateral damage. So then you're getting other people hurt because you were so aggro in it. I think at least with the benefit of someone like a Spider-Man, a Batman, whatever it may be, characters that tend to not murder, is that you at least like stop things for the momentary, and then, or if it's somebody like a Joker, where it's like you have storylines where he's like gassing an entire city, that's a whole different conversation. But like in the typical basis where it's not a major event or whatnot, and you're just talking about a regular story, you're only getting a few people hit in the collateral for the most part. When you are letting all these villains know, like, oh no, I will put you down, they can't just operate regularly because they know their life is on the line. Having somebody operate out of survival versus operating out of fear of just maybe going to jail for a little bit, they're going to move completely differently in how aggressive they're going to be to protect themselves. They also how hard they're going to come at you in the long run. And I do also think for new villains that come around, it's only increasingly going to make them even more like ramped up because they're going to see what the president is getting into the field. Because granted, you have the same situation with Batman where, okay, he's creating new villains, but you could argue that being something in the fucking water in Gotham or not, because they be spawning like crazy shit. But I do think when these villains come apart, they're not coming into it with they're scared of Batman, but they understand, okay, he's not going to kill me. Like I'm fine. I'll get my shit together and come back. Versus, all right, he's going to kill me. I need to try to kill him and anybody associated with him immediately. How to protect myself.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. Yeah, it is the deterrent factor. If you go out there knowing you have all kinds of second and third and fourth chances, you're playing with you're basically playing with Monopoly money. You don't mind losing. You don't mind because you know you're safe. That's a good point. But another thing too is if you go back to like with My Hero Academia, with All Might, to the best of my knowledge, All Might never killed anybody. Yet, however, when he was around, he was still in his prime. Crime rate was down by like 90%, even though he didn't kill. So sometimes just having the actual being enough of a powerful force, even if you don't kill, can still be enough to deter people. At least in that
bad example, because him not taking out All for One caused this entire series to exist.
Which is true.
How many people died because of that?
Which is true. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have killed All Might. I'm killed All for One.
All for One.
But as far as the deterrent factor,
But even in that, though, that's where we talked about like the development of new things. Because while All for One was around, he could not beat that nigga. And for what, like a decade almost, maybe a little bit over a decade, like you said, crime universally was down like 90%. Where they were in the damn near utopia just because he existed. I think it's that whole idea of like, you have a nuke and everybody knows you have a nuke and they don't have a nuke, they're not going to try you.
Right.
But in the situation where like they get a nuke in a Shigaraki on the up, like coming up, it's like, I think we could take him now. So now we're going to try him versus, I don't know, that in my mind, it's dependent on the story and how you like a person who writes these different people. But it's I don't know, it's an interesting way of going about things. I do think there are multiple ways you can approach a story. It just depends on the type of overarching messaging you're trying to tell and how you set the world up.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, I'm sorry, Ryan, you ahead, my man.
I was going to say, because you could have the idea of if I have a nuke, you're not going to mess with me. You have a nuke. I'm not going to mess with you. Like kind of mutually assured destruction, and then it turns into Attack on Titan, and it goes off the rails because that's the plan until somebody goes, okay.
That's the worst case scenario. That's the worst case scenario. Try to kill the world. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. But I think the thing is going back to
made an emphasis to never kill. And he's got his planet blown up several times over. Just saying.
Who?
Goku.
Yeah.
He don't got anything about killing. They're going to kill immediately. What are you talking about?
No. I mean, usually he tries to spare people. Even Frieza. He spared Frieza. He trying to fly away from Frieza as Frieza was trying to kill him.
That nigga, I remember that nigga coming to Namek and pulling up on the Ginyu Force and immediately offing the Ginyus. Like immediately, like Raccoon got up out of there with a quickness.
He knocked him out. He didn't kill him.
He beat them brutally, but
put him in traction
from that.
Yeah.
How did Raccoon die? Am I tripping? How did Raccoon die? Did Goku not kill Raccoon?
From the planet exploding from Frieza.
Yeah. Goku didn't kill any of the Ginyu Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tripping. I guess when I see the irises, the eyes go white, I'm like, oh, he's got to be dead because there's no way he just judo chopped the back of this man's neck and his eyes disappeared.
No, they got
no, I know Vegeta killed
Jace.
Jace.
Just beat him until your body is no longer functional.
Yeah, it's the same thing he did in Nappa. Because when he got to Earth, he had basically one shot Nappa, and then Vegeta threw him and then he blew him up.
I mean, didn't he like murder a shit ton of people in the Red Ribbon Army in that base?
You're talking about old school Dragon Ball.
Because I think that's part of why Jiro even hated him, because he like killed his son that was in the base.
He might have.
Then he killed Demon King Piccolo, and I think he killed. Well, those are demons. So I mean, however you feel about demons.
Yeah, I think in Dragon Ball, I think he killed all the time. I think that's why he doesn't as
like
an
casually.
Yeah.
Some of them were robot
kid, man. He was young and dumb.
The psychology of Goku needs to be done by somebody at some point. Like, this man's mental health was probably cooked.
Yeah, Goku's a weird example. I mean, keep in mind, Goku's a guy who didn't understand what kissing was after he had with 2 kids, grown kids. Like,
right.
Yeah. Goku's a weird example.
But no, it's funny. But I see your point, though. I see your point.
But yeah, but the only the only thing I wanted to say was just the idea, too. You brought up the idea of storytelling, I believe, Dev. I do think it's having killing in a story can be a great thing if you do incorporate the kind of the fallout from it, and kind of dealing with some of the trauma with it. For example, even like something like Last of Us 2, more or less, as far as with the fallout from that, or how Joel felt about the idea of what he had done, the ramifications of it. So if you're willing to deal with that and address it, it can still be a very impactful thing in your storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And to my prior point is just acknowledge it. That's my thing. At least from storytelling, acknowledge the death. Like, just don't let it be this, like, at least from jump, be this thing that this person can just do casually. Like, if they're murdering without a second thought, is it because they've done it before, they're ex-military? Is it because they've seen death already? Like, what makes them want to just murder without any thought? Because I think at any other point in just human interaction, if you're making a story based off of human nature, when people see death, it fucks with them at some point, either immediately or like down the line, and how they approach things.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they had the Heroes Corps around for a long time, because of that, specifically because of that. How I know it's made forever ago in the 40s, what have you, but they believed the idea that if kids saw heroes killing willingly, I mean, it would mess them up some. So they were aware of that idea.
But the police. Anywho,
yeah, I was about to say something. Let me stop.
That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other bag of fish.
Well, one thing before we get out of this point, like, I know there's always such an emphasis on characters like, Punisher when talking about these conversations, but why don't we talk about like the Iron Mans, the Captain Americas, the Black Widows, the Hawkeyes, who kill people very indiscriminately, very often, but like never get the scrutiny of actually the fact that they do that? Because like, you're going to tell me like Iron Man blows up a tank and you expect the people inside that tank to still be alive?
So those 3 in particular, I look at it with the same example we talked about in regards to desensitization, or desensitized to the whole thing. Cap literally went to war, and then also he was literally fighting on like with propaganda at his back, the whole idea that he's fighting for a better world against Nazis. Once you're at war, murder, because Cap, I think people forget, Cap had a whole gun when he was first in the comics, like, but he was lighting up Nazis with a pistol
in the first movie too.
In
the first MCU.
Yeah. And then Widow, bro, the Red Room is quite the definition of like, yeah, we're gonna train you to commit murder and assassinations like you're a robot, and you had to have no other prerogative outside of committing murder against who we tell you to murder. And then Tony was literally a warmonger, creating mass weapons of destruction, like, to murder people. So these are just 3 people who's like, either rather than be inspired by money in Tony's aspect, rather than be them being brainwashed as like literally child soldiers in the Widow's aspect of it, or just outright fighting for patriotism or your country or your morals and values and ethics. It's kind of that thing. Like, they're always doing it for some reason. I don't think, for the most part, I'm trying to think, I don't know if there's any Marvel characters that just like, outside of them being like literally deranged, just murdering for the sake of murdering without having one of those 3 things be an effect on them, their development.
I think, I mean, it's not, it's fair, Otis. It is a thin line between, I mean, the Widow is called an assassin, obviously. But the thin line is something that it seems like Castle or the Punisher's first modus operandi is to kill, ask questions, never. And with the other characters, at least they try to employ other methods, or at least try to understand what's happening on the situation as best they can. It's not just and only murder. Again, it's a very thin line, but maybe that's what it boils down to.
I think Cap is probably a very he's a very interesting one, because he and Frank are pretty much the same people at like the forefront of things, because they both went to war for their country, fighting for it in the interest of like, having a better world. And they came back, and I think it was obviously it's a trauma of like Frank having his family murdered, versus Steve kind of waking up in a new world that he saw. So now he's more so questioning authority versus really focusing on the villains themselves. I think Frank really just like came back and it's more so of, yeah, I know the government's bad, but these people that murdered my family, people like them, versus,
Right.
hey, government's kind of weird. I ain't really fuck with them no more, but I'll help you out fight these supervillains though, because they're the new Nazis in my mind.
Yeah, and plus the thing is with Castle, he is literally traumatized. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. He is dealing with severe trauma. He knows he's psychologically gone, so he is killing. That's birthed from extreme pain. Cap isn't quite there. He may have some PTSD, sure, but he's not there. Also, look at the biggest symbolism is, of course, the Punisher literally has a gun. When Captain America, in more recent stories, what have you, is wielding a shield, and it's meant to be more about I will knock you out, put you in trauma, whatever, as opposed to directly just shooting you in the head.
Knock you out. Like, when you see this man casually throw that shield into concrete, and you telling me like when it hits people's bones,
Casually.
they're not just
Casually.
done.
Casually.
Hey man,
Just saying, the first time that there was blood on that shield shouldn't have been in Falcon and
Captain America,
Winter
Falcon.
Soldier. Yeah, like it should have been way earlier than that when he was hitting these people in the face with this thing. It's going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
hey bro,
Yeah.
he has nothing against CTE, but murder though, that's where we draw the line.
And also, I want to point out, every one of the Avengers is a murderer in the beginning before they're Avengers. Like Hawkeye, Clint Barton, he was an assassin, and that SHIELD converted, and they sent him to kill Thor. That's what he was supposed to do before he tried to pick up the hammer. He was gonna kill him. Like,
Yeah.
they're all murderers, every single one of them, but they kind of
Yeah.
pretend that they're not.
No, they're all.
I think
like
literally,
that.
literally the only people I can think of that were when you use the Avengers roster is deep, but like one of the recurring ones that hasn't murdered is like Spider-Man, and I think that's why they kind of like they don't look up to him per se, but he's more so always like the moral like. Besides Cap, he's more so like the moral base that he got to keep everybody else in check. Like, hey, y'all tripping right now. The fuck are you doing? And then like, you know what? Spidey, he got a point. He got a point. Especially with people like Logan, where like Logan will be around people like, nigga, I ain't chop first, ask questions later. And he looks at Spider-Man like, all right, I get it. All right, cool, nigga. All right, I won't cut his head off. I'll say, I'll just get a leg. Me just get an arm.
just get his arm.
Only severing his leg.
Yeah, that's right.
Real quick, man.
He's not gonna bleed out or anything. He'll be okay, probably.
He's good.
That will be okay eventually. Yeah, at the beginning of Logan, remember at the beginning of Logan when those guys try to rob his limo or limousine, what have you, and he doesn't kill any of them. I don't think he just chops all their legs and arms off, maims all those guys. That's even worse. Kill him, at least kill him.
Yeah, to the point, it's probably easy for him to knock people out because you got like adamantine, like you literally have like bronze knuckles times infinity in your hand.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you hit somebody in the temple the right way, they probably out immediately.
Yeah. Wow.
But sure. Any other conversational pieces on this topic before we move on?
The last one. What about characters like Blade who are actually killing things that aren't necessarily human, but like were human?
Oof.
Is that a caveat to this too, or are those justified kills?
Usually I'd say they're dead, so they don't matter. But in the more recent Blade stuff, where literally Blade became like a warden for the vampire city, and they started to treat vampires more like their own sovereign people, almost like mutants in a sense. It's interesting because he was still like against people like Dracula, but he realized, well, these vampires aren't inherently evil. Well, again, it depends on like the way you're depicting these otherworldly beings. If it's more of a recent thing to where, they can live in their own city away from people and be chill. Cool, we probably shouldn't murder them all because they have some form of humanity within them, or at least, especially if they were human at one point. But if they're depicted how they are in like the Blade movies, where it's just like, they're just off rip, just going to be monsters no matter what you do, probably get them up out of here.
But yeah, because even if you go with the idea of is it okay to kill demons or kill things that are not human, whatever that might be, is that okay? Good question. Because it almost seems like you're speciesist. Is that the word?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because the vampires have like their own nation and stuff. Like Dracula's like a diplomat now, so I don't know. They're kind of people, I guess. But they also took over the world.
They're kind of people.
Well, they don't call themselves
That
people,
sounds
so
very,
that's
Viltrum to me.
Yeah.
Oh God.
we getting
Sure.
canceled immediately. Yeah, that's a real good question though. I don't know, man. I don't know.
What about Moon Knight? Like, he kills everything.
He's
Everyone.
quite literally mentally deranged to the point where certain people will just will not try him. Like the fact that Taskmaster is like, yeah, he threw a helicopter at me one time. I don't want any problems with him. I don't want to deal with him. Nobody wants to fuck with that man. Even Spider-Man be like, you know what? You got it, gang. I ain't even gonna deal with you, bro. You good.
That's so funny.
You win all three of you.
Cass will be like, chill, bro. Like, relax. Okay.
Like you make me look like I'm saying, like, come on, man, let's calm down.
Taskmaster went up to him after and was like, listen, the vampires are trying to hunt you. I'm just letting you know, so when you crash out, you don't get me in the crossfire. He's like, why are you telling me this? He's like, I don't know, because you're crazy, bro. Like, that's why. You threw a plane at me.
So are you gonna copy how I fight? Cool, copy this shit. Plane directly at you. Moving on. I have a little clip here for us to react to. That's going to kickstart the second part of our conversation.
Invincible isn't anime is the excuse Invincible fans are using after I compared Invincible's animation to Jujutsu Kaisen. And you know what? You're right. I guess that means if I compare it to American animation, it's going to be way better, right? Invincible's animation is subpar even by American animation standards. Just take a look at Devil May Cry over on Netflix and you'll know the difference immediately. Don't even get me started on Castlevania. That show has more frames in 5 minutes than Invincible does in an entire season. The Legend of Korra came out in 2012 and it has better hand-to-hand combat choreography than Invincible ever has. This one's really gonna piss the Invincible fans off. Freaking Has-Been Hotel has more consistent animation quality. X-Men 97, The Legend of Vox Machina, Creature Commandos, the list goes on. Heck, even Archer has better planned out choreography and action scenes than a decent amount of Invincible. That's scary. Ben 10 and Avatar The Last Airbender were putting out better fire animation than Invincible, and they came out almost 2 decades ago. There's literally no excuse. Next, Invincible fans are going to default to, oh, animation doesn't matter. Oh, well, cinematography in a movie doesn't matter either, but it sure as hell makes the movie better. And it's all because Robert Kirkman straight up has no respect for the animation genre at all whatsoever. He treats Invincible like it's a live action television show that unfortunately has to be animated, which is why he cares more about celebrity voice actors coming in and voicing random characters for millions of dollars rather than putting that millions of dollars into better animation. It also doesn't help that fans complained about the wait time between season 1 and season 2 being too long, so now he wants to put out a season every single year, giving him even less time to animate the show. Invincible is Amazon's #1 intellectual property. It's time to stop defending the trillion-dollar company for giving their most popular franchise the least amount of funding possible.
So there are two things to get into that I'd like to kind of kickstart this conversation. First and foremost, let's be correct on animation, because he was a little bit misinformed, I feel like, on a couple things. I think a good chunk of those shows he mentioned were not made or not animated by American animation studios. A lot of those studios, like Studio Mir, I believe, did not Castlevania.
Yeah, I think they did, right? That was Mir.
Yeah, it was Mir. Okay, and that's Korean.
And Devil May Cry.
The Korean studio. And I know X-Men 97 was also done by a foreign animation studio as well. So a lot of these big shows are not made in America. I'll start off there. Secondly, I'm not, this is not me defending Amazon at all as a corporation, because I understand they do shitty shit, especially recently with them trying to get off shit like having a whole show being dubbed by AI and whatnot. But you can't complain about like studio corporate greed and then also ignore how that makes MAPPA so good of an animation team. Because MAPPA has caught a lot of heat in the past historically, even up to this point today, where they're known for having it to where they're taking on so many projects, but because they're such a well-renowned animation studio, they're still getting the top animators coming over there. So you're getting, it's that whole scenario of like, yeah, I probably don't want to work for them, but they're very prestigious and it can help my career. So I'm going to go work for them. So I'm going to get overworked on purpose, knowing what this could possibly do for my career. So they're turning out top notch animation in so many projects, but you're overworking and underpaying your animators. Now, that being said, there's a conversation around budgeting. And before I turn it over, I will just give the quick budget numbers out here because our amazing producer, Sito, brought it up. For just these current seasons, right, for its Invincible Season 4 and the most recent season of JJK, Invincible has a budget of like around $3 million per episode. And I think I think it's 8 episodes in this season total, maybe 12. I think it's 8. Yeah, and then JJK is expected to have around $150 to $160 per episode. $160,000 per episode, with around 20 for episode. So that's around 3.6 million in total American USD. So there's a big gap there regards to how much they're paying. So that kind of lends, and then there's also been a lot of critique around Invincible putting a lot of their budget towards their voice acting team. Now, before I kind of deep dive into it more, I want to get your guys' initial thoughts with all this information being on the table. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things that tie into it too. I mean, so one, nobody is giving Amazon a discount on anything ever, period, right? Like, you're going to get, oh, this is what I would charge other people, but for you, double that. So, I mean, you're getting that walking straight into the gate. Also, like, you know, like you said, like, these are like A-list actors, B-list for some, but like these are like top level, like known people coming to do voice work for this series. Like, this isn't just like, you know, oh, like, you know, you've done like 200 anime voices, but nobody knows you by name. Like, these are, you know, like Stephen Ewan, Mahershala Ali, you know, like these are like actual like people that are going to be in the movie theaters in a couple of months for various projects. So like, you got to pay them what they're worth, especially for the amount of time that they have to dedicate to this. And then, I mean, also just like, yes, like the animation quality isn't necessarily the highest, but it's not bad either. Like, just trying to flat out say this is like some of the worst animation around, I think that's a little bit egregious, because like, you can look at like some very popular anime from across like recent times in the, like, you know, history, and see like things that this like outscales greatly. So yes,
you
like,
could say One Punch Man season 3.
yeah, like One Punch Man season 3. Many parts of Attack on Titan aren't necessarily the greatest animated. Naruto, like, there's whole YouTube videos of finding like some of the wacky animations that they've done throughout the history of the series. Like, I mean, it happens. But yeah, just to say that this is like just genuinely low tier for a crazy budget is a little bit egregious to me. But we're also trying to compare this to like the literal best animation. Like, there isn't many things that look better than Jujutsu Kaisen, than, you know, Demon Slayer, like those
Chainsaw Man
projects.
Right.
We don't have to talk about Chainsaw Man. Like, Solo middling, you know, great animation, still mid as fuck. But like, comparing things to the actual cream of the crop, like Devil May Cry and Castlevania are like the epitome of like American stories, but like foreign animation. Same thing with The Legend of Korra. Same thing with like, these are the best. Like, so I mean, I feel like the conversation is a little bit slanted because, I mean, yes, like compared to those things, like it's not the greatest, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a little unfair too, because I mean, I don't know Buddy Rowe there, but he did 100% cite episode 4 from season 4 of Invincible, which is the one that's getting torn apart online, is because it clearly was the most low budget episode. The fights were it had very few characters. It's meant to be, for those who haven't seen it, it's meant to be depicting a battle in literal hell amongst demons, right? Demon on demon battle, and it has like 5 of them out there running around. The action is very low stakes. There's a massive battle between Mark and Cerberus, but that battle is literally all off screen in the dark. So yeah, they use a lot. It's a very it's so obvious how many shortcuts and cheats they're using to save money that it's meant to be a parody almost, or a comedy basically.
Keep in mind too, they again, I think a lot of this has to do with like how fast the turnaround is. But in just the previous season, there's an entire episode, not an entire episode, but for like a 5 minutes for episode to where they had the whole meta commentary of what they do to hide and cut corners around animation because they're getting out so fast in regards to things happening off screen, them reusing similar shots but you not noticing, things like that.
Right.
Same character. They told you all this.
For ADR. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, yeah, that's yeah, you good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like, is it weird that I'm just like, I don't. It's not that bad, guys. Like, it's not like, yeah, sure, it cuts, but what do you want? It's been this animation the whole time. Like, this is what the show looks like to me. Like, you know, we're too many seasons deep for this to still be the complaint every single season, and you guys watch it into the stratosphere anyway, and you're gonna whine and complain the entire time until we get to the final episode, and you guys are gonna go, oh my god, this is where they were saving the budget. Robert Kirkman is such a genius. He was saving it for the Viltrumite War. We knew it. I called it. And it's like, yeah, you guys said the same thing. You said all the animation was terrible until the Conquest episode. And then that was the best animation we've ever seen ever. So I feel like it's just setting up to do that same bit again every year. But I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Oh, I'm like, oh no, man. I don't think it's that bad, Joe. Like, it's not that bad for us to be this upset about it.
Really,
yeah.
I was gonna say really quickly to bring up just like the voice acting. I think the voice acting being majority of the budget. Let's just look at a couple of the voice actors right here. Because these aren't just like regular voice actors are getting. They're either getting A-list actors that have been like either leading roles in major mainstream movies or been in leading roles in some of the biggest shows, period. Or they're getting in the sense of like Carrie Payton, Mark Hamill,
Sterling K.
Clancy Brown. Like they're getting like generational voice actors, people that are known. Like Mark Hamill's Joker, like he is the Joker for an entire generation of people. And he's like, his voice is undeniable. Carrie Payton is such a recognizable voice from him being Cyborg to all kinds of other stuff. Like these are just regular voice actors that they're getting for these shows. Stephen Yeun, Walter Goggins, Zazie Beetz, these are characters that like we've seen in big like hero things in before. And so, yes, Mahershala Ali, another. I think hell, most of these niggas may be Oscar winners.
There are a lot of J.K. Simmons, Omni-Man himself, is an Oscar winner. Sandra Oh is a multi
Mahershala Ali
Emmy winner. And as our producer is saying, of course, literally half the cast of The Walking Dead, and some of them have Emmys themselves, are on this. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was Conquest himself. But even the smaller things too, y'all. Smaller things like again, Sterling K. Brown did the voice of Angstrom Levy, right? This is the dude who's in, I think, 4 or 5 episodes total in the entire series. Is a very cool character, but like you don't have to have a literal multiple Emmy winner like Sterling K. Brown voice him. Also, I just saw an episode recently where what's her name? Debbie is having issues as far as going through the trauma and goes to a support group to help her get over Nolan's craziness, right? Daveed Diggs, who is a Tony winner from Hamilton, is voicing this character. He's in 2 scenes with her, a little guy that she meets at the support group. Why do you have to have a Tony Award winner as a voice? Why do you need this? Why don't you have any regular voice actors voicing regular cast members? You know?
Let me ask you, Ethan. If I were to offer you a choice between the best pizza known to man or a Lunchable pizza. Now, you don't need the best pizza known to man to satiate your hunger. You can eat the Lunchable and be cool. But if you have an option and can afford to pay to get the best possible pizza, wouldn't you always pick the best possible option if it's on the table?
Of course. But let me say this. Let me rebuttal with this. You made the comparison between a Lunchable, my man, and the best pizza in the world. Lunchables aren't even food. Those things are literally cars. I would refuse to let that in my house. So if the option is between like the best pizza in the world and a really, really good pizza that's a lower price, my man, I am on a budget. You've been to my place before. Do you think I get the best of anything? So I always go for what's the best for the situation, but also is a good it's an affordable option. I think that's.
I mean, there's still. I think in this, the thing is with this, if you're a voice actor, you're gonna get paid regardless. Like Carrie Payton is probably one of the low, like in regards to comparisons to everybody else. He's a career voice actor.
He's the voice actor.
But
yes,
yeah, but he's generational in that, and so he's going to get paid appropriately as well.
He's the top.
If you're asking, if you're asking him to go get like mid-tier voice actors that maybe haven't been in like major roles like that, they could do that. Or they could go get somebody like a Carrie Payton who is generational in his own right to play bigger characters like a Black Samson.
Yeah, but think about it this way too, though, my man. Like, for example, they got Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is a great actor. He's done voice acting too. He's done both those things before. I don't know that Sandra Oh has done voice acting before. I don't believe Sterling K. Brown has done voice acting before. Yeah, Clancy Brown has done voice acting before, but he's a seasoned vet. He's up there at the top tier. I'm sure he gets paid. He has a mighty bag. Steven Yeun has done some voice acting, but not that much. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I can't imagine he's done that much either. Clearly, this was a choice as far as choosing A-list actors as opposed to choosing A-list voice actors.
So let me ask you then at that point, with those people that have it, like a Walter Goggins, a Sandra Oh, are those not standout characters? Like a Cecil, a Debbie, when they're in scenes having big moments, are they not standout in those scenes?
They're fantastic. Yeah, but Walton Goggins, though, he's great like in White Lotus or what have you, or Justified. I don't know that he's done anything as far as voice acting besides this. And also, I'm sorry, let me cut you off. No, I'm saying is you and I we've seen all kinds of amazing animated shows, whether they be webtoon or anime, that don't have amazing actual A-list live action actors. They just have great voice actors. And so I'm saying that I do believe that great voice actors can still do their job. They don't have to be amazing A-list, live action actors.
I agree. But in this specific situation, these actors that they're getting are also some of the better parts of the show. Cecil and his interactions, like Walter Goggins and Cecil and his interactions with Mark in the show are some of the better scenes, narratively wise, and just like them talking to different things happening. Especially at the end of the first season where he's like really just like teeing off against Omni-Man, like dodging and whatnot, that conversation having back and forth.
100%.
To my knowledge, J.K. Simmons didn't do a lot of voice acting work before this, to my knowledge. I can't think of too many things he's been in voice acting wise.
I knew he was Tenzin, obviously, in Korra. I know that much. But I'm trying to...
Yeah, true. I forgot about that. I forgot about him being in The Last Airbender. Yeah. Or like Mahershala Ali as Titan, like little things like that. I'm like, yeah, you don't have a lot of experience. But when you got this role, what experience you do have translates very well. And you are not just like, it's one thing to your point, if they're like side characters, I'd agree with that. It's like a thing where like they're only getting 2 minutes or like a few scenes, cool. But if they're playing foundational characters that need a lot of minutes and a lot of monologues and big moments, you probably want to have them because this show has shown up until this point. When you do that, you're getting quotable moments. Literally getting J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man created an entire meme that is still kind of around to this day with the whole think marks, like shit like that.
Yeah.
Things that he said in that first season, you're a pet, those lines and the way he delivered them is the reason that this IP is the most valuable IP in Amazon right now because those vocal moments made that.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. Yeah, because like you said, you're right though. This is the best pizza in the world. That's the point. It is because that's so expensive. Again, J.K. Simmons was in. We brought up Korra. To the best of my knowledge, he's like the only real actual A-list actor in Korra. But you have plenty of other amazing voice actors in that show too. So you could do something similar with this, where as far as having, let's say you have Steven Yeun, Sandra Oh, and J.K. Simmons, the main 3 leads, right? And everyone else is basically just a really good voice actor. It would still be great. In my opinion, Sandra Oh and J.K. Simmons are the best 2 in the show, basically. But you can still do an amazing show without having super duper A-list, Emmy-winning, Oscar-winning, Tony-winning, what's that, EGOT, having all those in the show. And that's my opinion, my take.
Well, I'll give some pushback on a couple of those points. Good voice actors, you don't know. Like you will never know them because they're that good and they just went into their role. Sandra Oh has been voice acting since the early 2000s. But she just always plays characters that she just disappears into, and you don't really think about it. You don't think about her voice. That's the only thing that I could see is that at a certain point, does it matter? And I think with a lot of these performances, we've seen that, like, that is the thing. Because when people keep saying that, oh, you know, you guys are praising it for the story, not the animation. You know, you're saying that it's better written for the story, but it's not. The animation isn't as good. You know, since when do we only care about story? And it's like, it's not just that we care about the story. It's not just the story. It's the actors. Like, these actors are delivering this story in a way. Like, how many times did we see people try to do that conquest speech? Like, that speech that was added for the show and was just perfect for that actor. Like, I can't think of another voice doing that. So, like, you know, I mean, J.K. Simmons is the same way. He's been voice acting forever in like bit cartoon parts and stuff like that, and not even just like one-offs. Like, he plays a character for 8 episodes, and you didn't even know it was J.K. Simmons because he changed his voice so distinctly, like that you wouldn't even you would never be able to guess. So I think in this specific case, I think it does matter that they're getting these incredible Emmy award-winning actors that can give these incredible award-winning monologues, because that is what he is banking on. Like, Robert Kirkman is in his writing bag right now. He's trying to be, he wants to be known for that. And I think that's why he's kind of like, I'll save the animation for the end. And you guys will still love it.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. You made a lot of good points, Ryan. My God, that's you earned the Zella name. But the I wonder, because the old boy is popping off saying how Kirkman was pretty much the architect of all these things. I don't know how involved Kirkman is with all the aspects of this series, as far as the animation and everything else like that. I know he may be involved with, of course, bringing some folks over from Walking Dead as far as the voice actors, but I don't know how much more involved he is with other stuff. He has an own Amazon or his own animation studio itself. So I don't know about that. But it is, you said J.K. Simmons has been around. Our producer put out, J.K.'s been around since literally back in the days when he was voicing the yellow M&M on those holiday commercials and everything else. One other thing too.
About that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
well, he's been J. Jonah Jameson in every single animated. He's been J. Jonah Jameson since the Raimi Spider-Man movies, and literally every single animated thing that's had J. Jonah Jameson in it, he's voiced it.
Video games too.
And the video games. Crazy.
But one last point I want to bring up that our producer said is how something I didn't think about, which is a really, really good point, is how Amazon has that ability to, like X-ray vision or whatnot, where like watching the show, you can kind of bring up to see who the cast is that's voice acting or what have you, or see who the actual live action cast is. What that does to, of course, and once you're there, you can click right on that actual actor and go to their movies directly from Amazon. It's clearly this is a bit of a promotional thing. They know this is on Amazon. These actors know they're on Amazon. Tatiana Maslany does the voice of I forgot the character, but she's the voice of Alan's girlfriend in the show, right? That blue alien. And you click right on her name and it takes you right over there to her
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black, right? It was on all those seasons are right there on Amazon Prime. So it's like, yeah, they know what they're doing. It's not an accident. So that's a really good point though that our producer made.
So even to that point, and I think Otis can maybe speak to this as well. From that standpoint, when you look at when this show first dropped, because I remember vividly when this show came out, and I had no idea what it was. And this means a comic fan. Oh, I remember vividly. Otis was like, "Hey, bro, this new show's coming out. J.K. Simmons is in this bitch. They got Zazie, not Zazie Beetz. Who was it at that point?
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah,
it was Zazie Beetz.
He was like, "Yeah, we got these crazy actors in this." I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll try it out. Not even knowing what it was. I just off the straight up my homies saying these actors are in there. Versus when you're looking at where anime is right now, it's been for a minute. If you're a top animation, like if you're just saying, "Oh, Map is animating this," that's probably enough for people to want to go check out initially. So it's that marketing tactic of like, yeah, we don't have the strength of IP right now with Invincibles. It was a popular comic in its day, but it wasn't strong enough to like some X-Men shit to where as soon as you announce an adaptation was being made, people are gonna fly to go watch it. It's not until you bring in these top lane people that have fan bases in themselves to want to check out this show. And it's kind of where that's derived from as far as marketing goes.
I mean, you're right though. That's a really good point. Even outside of Invincible, you got a good point because they do that with like a live action. With animated feature films, like a Minions movie or that movie Goat that was produced by Steph Curry, I think, right?
Yeah.
It always shows you the laundry list of the celebrities' names, celebrities that are in there, voice acting stuff. So you got a good
Transformers 1.
Yeah, had Chris.
Yeah, stacked ass cast for that.
Brian Tyree. Yeah. It's a good point.
But yeah, But yeah. And also the one thing I want to speak to is to different things that are specialized in, because I do think this is a conversation I'll do it in sports terms for the sports nerds and also for music. It's like the conversation of like a super elite offensive player versus a super elite defensive player, or an artist who is a massive lyricist who can put together all kinds of storytelling, or artists who can just deliver a really fun song. Like all these different people have things that they specialize in that they do really well that makes them amazing. And just because you do one thing and the other person doesn't do that same thing doesn't mean that thing's trash in comparison. JJK, for the most part, again, we've talked about it before. It's been a pretty bloated show from a narrative perspective for a minute now, but the animation has been amazing, and the aura farming for it has been amazing. That's carried that show. That's what made that. That's the identity of that series. When you're looking at Invincible, especially with the most recent episode 5, the sound design being one thing, like the fact you're like, they cut music and you're just hearing the like intestines being pulled out and different things like that. Like it's getting a visceral reaction from you, or just the way the show's been as a whole when it comes to violence and the way that they showed the sound and from the fight scenes to the voice acting. That's what they specialize in. I don't know. I've said it a million times in this show. I don't know why people can't just say they have a preference. And I will say, it's always the One Piece fans, because I've seen that nigga have the One Piece figurines in the background. It's always the One Piece fans it's always the anime fans that do this, where it's always seen as a conversation of like how American animation is just so inferior to Japanese animation. Like no, anime has its own issues in a different font. It's just not the same things that Americans do, but you harp on this because it's your preference. Just say you prefer anime animation or foreign animation over American animation, and keep it at that. That's your cup of tea.
So one last thing too is Sakuga. We all know about Sakuga. So basically, the idea that certain moments or certain fight scenes are illustrated by specialists to kind of heighten those moments or heighten those scenes. There are plenty of moments in anime where it's very humdrum walking, the kind of like kind of slice of life stuff where nothing really big is happening, where it doesn't look over the top, amazing or crazy. That's kind of the point. It's the same thing here with if you go to Invincible, where obviously the conquest fights are meant to be super duper aura farming, hype fuel, and the rest of the stuff doesn't have to be. So I get what you're saying there, but there are plenty of moments in anime where they are just things aren't as super over the top crazy, and they don't need to be, and people have their preferences. For humans.
Yeah, even in the animation, we just got off of talking about how bad One Punch Man's animation got for fans. I'm like, anime is not this holy thing that can never be touched and has never had any issues. Like, there's plenty of issues with animation. Hell, even with I remember, was it season 3 of JJK? People complaining about animation being really bad for episode or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's happened. And also, fun fact from producer Cito. I think we need to make this like a thing for every episode now. Fun fact from Cito. The average adult intestine length is roughly 20 to 30 feet, with the small intestine being around 15 to 22 feet and the large intestine being around 5 feet. If you know, you know.
Also, we can't call that one fun fact. Let's not call that one fun fact. Not that one. That's not fun fact.
So probably. So there probably was that much. Okay.
I mean,
at
least. I mean, you saw.
That was my question. I'm like, is there enough in there? What the fuck?
Because by the end of it, it looked like there was a massive like organ on top of Conquest that had fallen out of his body. There was pretty much he was a concave by the end of the encounter.
I'm not super familiar with like Viltrumite physiology outside of like the sound thing with their eardrums and whatnot, but. Fun fact. But to transition into the last part of our show, and this is kind of more so audible that I call at the end scene that we had the guests we have on. Zella, one thing I've noticed you've been doing and making a point to do on your platforms from YouTube and TikTok recently is you made it a point to highlight a lot of Black indie comics that are either in Kickstarters coming out or they've been already out, or you're reviewing them, you're bringing them up. I was curious as to, in your opinion, as of recently, this year, just to kind of make things easy for you, what are like your top 3 indie books you've read so far? And do you want to kind of give us a little bit of a pitch of each one so people can go check them out?
Yeah, the first one that I thought of immediately is Fumes from M. Shai Dash over at Emetropia Comics. Fumes is awesome right off the bat. It starts off right in the action. It's a sci-fi. Their thing is decolonize your sci-fi. So Black woman-led sci-fi thriller that actually spawned out of one of her books that she has. So she has like short story compilations that are on Amazon and all that. So she turned one of those tales from her quirky black sci-fi tales to this book series that's going to be, I think it's either a 4 or 5 part series that it's going to end up being. But that's what Fumes is based off of, and it's this a kind of cautionary tale about climate change, to be honest. And it's very, very, very interesting right off the bat with these almost like jellyfish type aliens that come to what we believe is Earth. And you were dropped right in the middle of the action with the main character as a sniper hunting these things, and the conversation back and forth with her superiors and a little bit of a flashback. But the art is amazing on it, and the story kind of just jumps right into the action that I like that. Second one that I've read that I loved is Scion. Um Again, no capes in this one either. This is the character is a black student on he goes to an HBCU. He is a FBI, well, he's trying to get into the FBI program, and he's in a forensics in kind of like the end stages of his forensics degree that he's in, and he gets approached by this mega corporation that's basically, think of any mega corporation that we have right now. Yes, that one. It's that, it doesn't matter which one it is. It's that one that does everything. They do a little bit of everything, and they're offering this ability to do LASIK eye surgery. So he wears glasses, so they try to encourage him to do the LASIK, and he ends up doing the LASIK, and shenanigans ensues. I'm not going to spoil all of that, but there's a lot that happens after that. And part of this story and kind of the blackness in it is not even just the fact that it's on an HBCU, and this is probably the most accurate black dialogue that I've read in a very long time. But it's the fact that the story, it's talking about what would you do in order to help your people, because that is the thing that is the kind of crux of his decision making, is going into law enforcement, being somebody on the inside actually gonna help your community, the black community. And also these programs that keep coming up, if we don't support these programs, do they just end up fizzling out, going away anyway, even if they're corporate owned? And that's why he ends up getting into the situation that he gets into, is because he has to battle that, which I think that's such a fantastic theme. And that's not just theory, that was confirmed by the writer. He told me that that's that is the theming of it. And okay, I'm not doing this because it's you. Okay, I'm not doing this because it's you. Can I just pretend it's not you? Okay, I read this book Reaper from Echelon Graphic Novels, and it I went back and forth with trying to go with a different story for just optic reasons, but there's something about this story that grabbed me right away. There's two characters that are introduced right in the beginning of the story. It's a lovely black couple that you see, and they're talking, flirting a little bit, and they're having this dinner kind of night. In this couple, the way that they interact and talk with each other is endearing right from the beginning. I knew the genre that I was getting into, so I already had kind of goosebumps from reading this couple, because my initial thought was, oh no, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I already like them. And I remember thinking, I haven't even turned the first page, and I'm already having the thought, I hope nothing happens to this couple because I like them this much. He's already sold me in 4 panels on how believable this couple was. And that's just how the writing carries throughout for the rest of it. It's definitely a love letter. It's definitely a passion project. You could tell the heart that is put into all of these characters, and the way that they interact is just so genuine. And it is a story that kind of jumps out with kind of a heartbreaking sort of twist that happens in it, that I'm not going to spoil, but it makes you need the second issue. So that's I couldn't go with another a different third book, because that book impacted me so much. Each one of these books, I was hungry for issue 2, and that was like the biggest standout to me. So those are my picks. Fumes from Emetropia Comics, Scion from Crimson Sleeper Studios. Crimson Sleeper Studios, and Reaper from Echelon Graphic Novels. If you guys go and pick those up, and I think each one of those has a Kickstarter coming up for their next issue. I believe so.
I promise I didn't ask that question with Reaper in mind. I ain't gonna lie to you, I legit forgot you did a review on that for a second. So I appreciate it. But it's always, and Ethan could probably attest to this as well, it's always fun to like hear people's perspective of the things you write, because you already in your mind have what you're trying to get across, but you never know what people take from it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Scion, I will advocate for. I did my own review for Scion. I loved it vividly. It's 48 pages too, so it's a hefty first issue. And the Kickstarter is about to come out for issue 2 with a cover art by Nick Draper Ivey. If you guys aren't familiar with who Nick Draper Ivey is, he's the guy that's been on the covers for the Static Batman Beyond stuff. He's like my favorite cover artist right now.
Yeah.
He's fucking killing the game. I have Fumes. I have the Kickstarter back, so I'll be getting, and I'm at the tier where I can get issue 1 and 2. Because I think, and that's one thing I want to let people know about Kickstarters for these comics in general, and why I really push people towards them. Yes, it's not as cheap as going to pay like $4 or $5 for a Marvel or DC book, but you're getting it on the ground level for some really great stories. And then for a lot of these Kickstarters, you're for $20, $30, you're not only getting that particular issue, but in the case of Fumes, you're going to get issue 1 and 2 and some other like art or other stuff like that goes into the book. And you're also being a part of helping the story get off the ground and get this story going. So it's a little bit more, at least for me, an intimate buy versus me just going to buy a random book from Marvel or DC. Because I think I'm back in like 7 Kickstarters right now, which hurt my wallet, I ain't gonna hold you. All of them didn't in at the same time. And like tomorrow, the fucking $70 I paid for the omnibus for Midnight Comics is about to hit too. So my money about to be gone. But all that being said, yeah, good suggestions, good recommendations.
Except for that third one. I'm not sure that third book you mentioned, Rapper or something.
Rapper is crazy.
Forget that noise. Get that noise.
It's just trash for real.
Trash.
You have any other closing thoughts, or maybe about? I don't know how many comics Ethan and Oj have been reading as of late. I know Ethan is more the manga guy.
Yeah, I was reading. I will confess I was reading more manhwa. I mean, reading a couple more manhwa than I should have. But yeah, I do. But yeah, I 100%. Obviously, we're all indie. We're all creatives here. Please support any creators that you know. Support any comics. It's hard out here. It's very hard out here, and the economy is definitely in the toilet. So we know that money is tight, but even the smallest dollar definitely goes far.
Yeah, and some 2 recommendations I just thought out there real quick. One isn't really indie, but it's made by an amazing Black creative team in Far Sector. This is legit like the introduction of Sojourner Mulane, the current leading character for Absolute Green Lantern. If you like sci-fi, if you like fucking the Green Lantern Corps at all, this is legit like a Western sci-fi action, romance, political commentary story. It's like, put it like this, N.K. Jemisin has 3 Hugo Awards, like back to back to back. Like her bag is writing science fiction stories in novelization form. And this was like her debut thing that she wrote as far as comics goes. And the book did so well that it went on 12 issues and they gave it a fucking deluxe hardcover. It did so well. And the character was so loved in Sojourner Mulane that she made up, where they put her in main continuity. And now she's a leading character in the Absolute Green Lantern series, one of the better selling books in DC right now. And then the other one I have that is indie is going to be Keisha Demon Eater by Dream Fury Studios. Obviously, I know I get down with Kill Bill and Bruce Lee. So I saw the yellow jumpsuit and the puffs. I'm like, demons, black woman in the jump. I got to check it out. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The art is amazing in it. The story has been pretty cool so far. And I'm excited for the next issue. This is the first trade that you can get in color or non-color. And I'm not sure. I need to look up to see when the next stuff's coming out. But I think the only other thing he has out besides this is Crescent City Monsters, which I need to buy at some point soon. But those are my recs for comics. I know me and Zilla are probably more of the current comic niggas, but just in case, put it out there.
I know. And I did read the newest Superboy Prime, just to kind of see what was going on, how they're trying to pull that off. But that's not indie at all.
Oh, I got one more. Please show. Where's it at? Can you guys see it? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
Bronze Faces, man. I just picked this up, the trade. This is an amazing story by two Nigerian guys, and it follows the basically they are trying to steal back artifacts from museums. It's very cool. I just got it, and I'm excited to get all the way through it. I love the artwork in it. The artwork in it is just, it's beautiful. Like, it's just so great.
We'll have to have Ryan back on here for one thing, as far as we're talking about the budgets and everything when it comes to anime and animation in general. I feel like it's a similar conversation when it comes to like the artwork. How important is the artwork?
God.
We're not doing that now. 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 But like the idea of how important is the quality of the artwork to the comic you're reading, or the manga or anime, whatever manga you're reading, whatever.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm not bringing Ryan back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please.
And if you guys are not familiar with Ryan or his platforms, I'll have his YouTube channel linked either in, I think I may have it in the title of this specific episode, so you guys can find him easily. And then, do you want to tell people you guys are other platforms where they can find you at?
Zella Comics, basically everywhere else. YouTube and TikTok are the biggest platforms right now. I'm gonna eventually start growing up the Instagram, and there will be a podcast eventually coming soon. So we'll swap podcast days or something.
Yeah, let me know. Ethan, Otis, is there anything you guys want to plug right now? Anything coming up that you guys want to make people aware of?
Radio.
Always advocating for LordCon coming up in this September, which you will see Echelon there at in North Carolina. It's the first of its kind, so come out and support, and give advocacy to another Black-owned convention coming up on the East Coast here. Also, shout out to Ianu Child of Wonder, and still pushing for their NAACP award in their season 2, and kudos to Lion Forge for bringing in that $30 million investment to expand upon their project. So, shout out to them for that. And they also are a Black indie comic that have 4 issues of their series out for Ianu Child of Wonder. So if you haven't checked those out already, I definitely.
But they got a whole trade. That's like more than 4 issues. It's like what, 12, something like that. I got the trade down here somewhere. It's they got a bunch of shit in there. I'm pretty sure it's more than 4 issues. It may be. I can look it up. I for sure feel like it's more than 4.
They launched for their 4th issue at DreamCon last year, so I don't think it's more than. But I mean,
they made us be really thick then.
Small,
like, right.
They're one issue for them was going to be like 40 something pages. So it's got some little weight to it. So
that makes more sense. Because I haven't gotten any of the singles. I only have the trades. Usually trades are like, well, you know what? It makes sense. Your trades are usually like 4 to 12 usually in my mind. Yeah. All right, y'all. This has been another.
Well, I would give a shout out, of course. Give a real quick shout out to Midnight Comics, and they hit their Kickstarter goal of $10,000. Congrats to them.
Yeah.
Lloyd and Tasha, they're great people. They're obviously they're friends of the show, but also really good people, and we're friends with them outside of the show too. And also want to give them a big shout out to a big thank you to all the people who have come over and supported our Echelon graphic novels. This week alone, we have literally gotten bombarded literally bombarded with submissions from people wanting to work with us and do stuff with us and everything. That obviously is largely due to the creator of the comic book rapper himself posting that amazing ad. But we are humbled by all the outpouring of people that want to work with us. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, again, not even a crazy amount of promo. I feel like just like 1 or 2 videos here and there, and people are already rocking what we have going on. In regards to other Echelon news, in the next coming weeks, we'll have the announcement for the start, at least a pre-sale or pre-start of the a Kickstarter for a trade we have coming out for anybody that wants to be more familiar with all the flagship stores we have. We're going to have all the first issues of all those in one big trade that we're going to be putting out soon. And you guys supporting that Kickstarter helps us, again, make more stories that we have coming out that we want to put out there that we just don't have the funding for at this current moment in time, and just supporting you people as a whole. So you'll get more news around that when that drops. We're just trying to finish up the front and back cover before we kind of put that out and set that Kickstarter up. So you guys will be able to check out all the things we have going on. And then Reaper issue 2 is in the coloring phase now. I will have the announcement for when that comes out, hopefully here within the next month or so. Literally just waiting to get through the coloring pages, and then lettering usually doesn't take any time at all. Whenever, just depending on the letterer. But we got a lot of stuff coming out. And then I finished the script for the 3rd issue. We've been working.
It's okay, man. Like every woman I've ever dated before, when I'm waiting for them to get dressed, you can't rush greatness.
Yes, sir. Because I am a bad bitch. Let me stop. This has been another episode.
Producer, cut that clip in the new intro.
Leave it in.
Oh my God. Thank y'all so much for coming out. This has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. And y'all remember forever and always.
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
And we'll see you all next time. Peace, y'all.